Politico. Trump's anti-DEI edicts just scared a big sponsor away from a major pride event. Just think about what a loss to our culture this is. All right, we've now got a major sponsor being scared away from promoting gay promiscuity. Right? So here's Politico. Booz Allen's decision to cancel a sponsorship or to worry anyone who cares about Washington culture, and I would say anyone who cares about the future of gay promiscuity, who cares about the promotion of the gay lifestyle. This is really bad news. Why can't we have major American corporations now promoting and celebrating gay promiscuity? Like, what kind of prudish country have we become? Now, are we going to say that orgies are a bad thing, or that visceral ways of expressing your love for another member of the same sex who you don't know, that somehow this is going to become less honored, less celebrated in America? Booz Allen Hamilton is a mammoth Beltway federal contractor, long been a supporter of gay causes, right? They're dedicated to the advancement of the gay life, right? This is on their firm's website. And now Washington, D.C. has won the right to host one of the world's biggest gay festivals. I mean, what an amazing accomplishment. I mean, just the thrills that must run up and down the spines of people in Washington, D.C., knowing that it gets to host one of the world's biggest gay festivals. Just the tingles that go up and down the leg. And of course, you'd expect Booz Allen to sign on to underwrite the event known as WorldPride 2025. Look, we're all going to be at WorldPride 2025. Like, be there or be square. And now this disheartening news: WorldPride is now projected to draw 3 million visitors in just a few months, but Booz Allen abruptly withdrew as a sponsor. Right? They're worried that merely supporting a global gay festival will put it on the wrong side of its dominant customer, President Donald Trump's federal government. What a sad day in America, where you can no longer sponsor Globo Homo without fearing retribution. Like, where are we going as our country? Like, our most sacred rights written into the Declaration of Independence of the U.S. Constitution to participate in mass orgies with strangers, our most sacred rights are now under threat. I mean, the Trump administration puts out an executive order forbidding diversity, equity, and inclusion by companies in federal contracting, and now it's targeting our most sacred values. My God, what kind of country are we turning into? Like, are we no longer going to have festivals promoting promiscuity among strangers in front of children? Like, our poor kids, they're no longer going to be exposed to these healthy role models. This is incredibly disheartening. Like, where are our children going to get to see, like, these kind of healthy role models? You know, these healthy, sacred ways of expressing identity. I mean, there's just so much chaos and uncertainty from this new Trump administration, right? His edicts are ostensibly about certain HR practices, but they increasingly feel like campaigns against disfavored identity groups, right? Are you trying to tell me that America is no longer sacralizing orgies? Is this where we are as a country? Is this who we are as Americans now? We're not going to celebrate the transmission of monkeypox and other STDs? That we're not going to go, yay! This is, I'm just ripped up inside. I mean, businesses are just removing diversity goals from their priorities. They're excising the acronym DEI from all company communications. Links to Booz Allen's entries from previous years' Pride festivities no longer go to a page celebrating the firm's LGBTQ employees. They're now redirected to some kind of generic page about Booz Allen's warm culture. Look, A warm culture is not a piss orgy. Like, warm culture, that's all well and good, but our most sacred values are about celebrating piss orgies. Who are we as Americans now that we no longer celebrate piss orgies? Like, what kind of country have we turned into where federal contractors are no longer celebrating and promoting piss orgies? Where we're no longer promoting promiscuous sex with strangers in front of children? Yes, I am so mad. I am so mad. They don't do this to me. Right? This is my country too. Celebrating gay promiscuity has always been the highest value for the United States of America. Right? Our people fought and died at the Battle of Lexington, in the War of Independence against the British, in the 1812 War, in the war against Mexico, the war in the Philippines and against Spain. We died in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan to sacralize piss orgies, and now people are afraid. People think, oh, I might lose contracts. Why are we considering money when it comes to the sacred value of having sex with strangers? I don't recognize this country. Do you know that the first thing that Adolf Hitler did when he took power in Germany is that he put out an executive order saying that any company that celebrates piss orgies will no longer be eligible for contracts with the German state government. We are on the road to Auschwitz. Once you start saying anything negative about transmitting monkeypox, right? Once you stop subsidizing, right, PrEP, so that where you can engage, with full joy, full fervor in a completely promiscuous life, having sex with randos in public toilets and not have to fear getting the HIV. This is the first step to Auschwitz, right? The last time that we had this much celebration and pride about LGBTQ expression was during the Weimar Republic. And that then led to this awful repression and mass genocide, right? There is a thin yellow line between refusing to honor and make sacred and support and endorse piss orgies and committing mass genocide. Just a thin yellow stream, right? We have now, the United States of America, we have crossed the thin yellow stream from democracy and human rights to a Hitlerian, totalitarian, genocidal dictatorship. Right? There's just a thin yellow stream between us and civilization. There's just a thin yellow stream between our higher nature and our lower nature. And we have crossed the thin yellow stream. Right? Any minute now, they're going to be setting up death camps. Right? You cross that yellow stream, and there are no longer human rights. There's no longer peace and harmony in the world. Right? We descend into a state of nature where life is short, nasty, brutish. Can you believe, did you ever think that we would see the day where corporate America would stop celebrating piss orgies? It's just so disheartening. Like, I feel like the orgy community right now is getting hit from all sides. Right? That the protections that they have relied on for decades are now being ripped away, and business is cowering. Business is cowering and running away from the thin yellow stream that protects all of our rights. I mean, the thin yellow stream is the essential fabric in our society. Right? The thin yellow stream draws spectators from across our population. Right? Unless you are out to get gay people, right? It's hard to see how just sponsoring a gay pride event is somehow equivalent to embracing some now forbidden HR practice. I mean, is Chinese New Year next? Is Chinese New Year next? Are we next going to say that doctors may not prescribe puberty blockers to kids? Are we now going to say that our children are going to be denied gender-affirming care? Right? This thin yellow line protects our children to mutilate themselves, to destroy themselves with medication and puberty blockers. Do you understand what a substantial moneymaker, right, gender-affirming care is? Once you can get kids into that gender-affirming care pipeline, right, you're just going to be able to milk hundreds and thousands of dollars from them. Right? They will need a lifetime of medical care. Do you know what a great earner it is? And the only thing that protects this great earner for our most prestigious medical institutions is the thin yellow line. And now that thin yellow line, it's been crossed. Right? That thin yellow line, some people call it the Rubicon. But I'm a plain-spoken bloke. All right, I don't use these, big university words like Rubicon. I just know that we've been taking down plaques celebrating trailblazing women, trailblazing people of color, and people are afraid now to celebrate piss orgies. I mean, you got companies with billions of dollars at stake, and to them, protecting billions of dollars, right? That's more important than celebrating a good old-fashioned piss orgy, right? How did American patriots of the Valley of Forge stay warm during that brutal, brutal winter where it looked like America was absolutely lost, looked like there was no way the United States would form, it looked like George Washington's army was just going to disappear? But piss orgies kept Americans warm, kept Americans safe, kept Americans fired up, right? George Washington said, "Thou shalt stream. Let the piss orgies begin." And that's what kept Americans strong during that nasty, nasty winter during the Valley of Forge. And then the Battle of the Bastogne, right, in World War II, where the Germans had counterattacked and our American forces were surrounded. The weather was brutal. We couldn't supply them. Do you know how our brave men stood in the Battle of Bastogne and fought back against the Nazis? Right? They kept themselves warm with piss orgies. And now we're just pissing it all away. Now we're just turning our backs on our brothers who enjoy a good piss orgy with strangers. And all based on the whims of the Orange Hitler. Right? For decades, I've just thought of a piss orgy as bland, safe, official, celebrated. I never realized that the thin yellow line would come under this kind of attack. And it's not just in America. Right? Eagle Canada, right? One of Canada's largest LGBTQ events. Right? They will not be attending this Pride event in Washington, D.C. for good reasons. They're concerned about the safety of trans members. What if there are kids there who need to get gender-affirming care and it now is denied them? Right? How are our doctors going to make a living if they can't get people onto that eternal pipeline of gender-affirming care? I mean, people are so scared. Right? They're not even going to bloody orgies anymore. Like, people are too scared right now in large swaths of this country to have sex in public restrooms with randos. Right? The whole cottaging industry, it's not in a recession. Right? It's in a depression. I mean, George Michael, if he were alive today, like even a strong, proud man like George Michael, he would probably be intimidated from cottaging. Like, WorldPride is an apolitical cultural gathering. It is a celebration of the best of us. Right? It's an inspiration for the rest of us. Right? It's just a gay version of Mardi Gras. You couldn't think of something more harmless. But now we're making all these good people feel unsafe. Right? This is just another disturbing vibe shift thanks to the Donald Trump era. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm too upset right now. I can